So hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Akinola. In case you're just seeing me for the very first time, I actually make videos on medical laboratory science related topics, and in today's video basically what I'm going to be discussing is tips on how to pass your professional exam, exactly just as you've seen in the title below. Tips on how to pass your professional exam. Now this is basically not just based on my own experience alone. I actually messaged a lot of people who have actually done this. I actually asked them what was the most important thing that actually helped them in preparation for professional exam, and with these I've pulled out all those tips, and I'm very sure if you listen to the end and you apply these tips, I'm very certain you're definitely going to pass any exam you do. So stay tuned. So now my very first number one point, which will always be my number one point, is the God factor. And yes, hold on, I messaged a lot of people, and everyone talked about the God factor, and that is true because the God factor is the number one point in anything we're actually doing. God is first, and even in academics, you have to put God first, because if God is not involved in reading with you ask me, how is God going to be involved in reading with me? So you actually have to understand that God should be your leading factor. God should be your priority in everything you do. Put him first. God, I'm about to this examination. I need you to lead me to where to read. I need you to actually guide my path. It's possible for you to actually read, do everything, and then you get to the exam, and whatever you read did not even come out, or probably you read it and then you can't remember. Then after you now finish the exam, you now remember. The moment you're stepping out of the exam hall, the answer just comes to you. I'm like, shit. Basically, that happens to a lot of people. And see, it's important. That's why it's very important to put God, actually, because it's a factor. It's a very dependable factor. Now, my number 2 point is actually reading. Now, someone said something that actually struck me in the response I got from people, and he said it is possible to study hard and not study smart. So you can actually study hard and fail an examination, but you can study smart and actually pass an examination. So sometimes it's not about how hard you study, but how smartly you actually study. So now let me bring it down to medical laboratory science. Now we know for medical laboratory science, our first professional exam is in 400 level. Then the final professional exam is actually in 500 level. Now, you've been studying MLS from 200 level, 300 level, 400 level. That's basically like 3 years worth of stuffs they could bring questions from, and then you're telling yourself, how do you cover up 3 years of stuff? Probably after examination you have like 3 months or 2 months, which most of the time is always actually less, to actually read up and prepare for the examination. So will you now start from, you go and carry your 200 level from your very beginning and your first lecture in 200 level, trying to read down to 400 level? That's not reading smart. Basically, that's not studying smart. That's studying hard. People can see you 5 hours, 8 hours reading every day, and someone who is probably reading 3 hours every day and is actually reading smart could actually pass. And then you get to the exam hall and you find out that whatever you were taught while you were wasting your time reading did not come out, and you're like, oh God, but I read. Yes, the truth is actually that you read, but you studied hard, not studying smart. So it's actually very important to study smart and not study hard. Even in reading, there are actually some steps to take in reading. There are textbooks that will help you. There are textbooks that help actually for medical laboratory science. You know the Uche, some people, Monica Cheeseburg. Please, I don't know if I murdered the name, but Monica Cheeseburg actually helps. There are a lot of practical textbooks that help when reading and preparing for your professional exam. There are a lot of practical textbooks. Monica Cheeseburg is better because it's more detailed when it comes to procedure. For me, I prefer Monica Cheeseburg, but most people like Uche. Uche is easy to understand, but when it comes to procedure, I think Monica Cheeseburg, and there's so many plenty textbooks, medical laboratory science textbooks. If I get a list of them, I'll probably list of possible textbooks that will help you in preparing for professional exam. I'll probably list them in the description down below, and if I don't, I pray I do, basically. Now, also that in this number 2 point, which is also under reading, is actually knowing your procedure. So it's possible for you to read for fun, but I want the most important thing for you when you're reading your professional exam is that not only are you reading to understand, but you should actually know at the back of your mind that you must know those procedures. You must know them at the palm of your hand, basically. You must know them at heart. You must know each procedure. And one thing about medical laboratory, especially when it comes to professional exam, you don't scramble position. procedures. Basically, you have to know the procedure. Number one, you wash, clean a grease free slide, make a smell. Like, it has to be exactly the way it was written. The only thing is that you're going to have to personalize it during the examination, showing them that you actually did it. But it has to actually be in the right order. So it's important when you're reading, always know that you have to know your procedure, know your materials, your aim, your principle. Oh god, there are a lot of times, especially practical exam, when you focus so much on procedures, and then there's some procedures that the principles don't actually carry out, but there are a lot of times you're focusing so much on procedures, then when you get to the exam, you're like, what's the principle of the test? And you're like, ooh, principle. So actually, because principle also carries mark, every single thing carries mark in a practical exam. The title, the aim, the materials, the principle, the procedure, your conclusion, your results. I think the results carries a certain mark, but if you actually eliminate your results, if you get your title, your aim, your materials and everything without even getting the result, you get the bulk of the mark. The results doesn't even carry the bulk of the mark. The procedure carries the bulk of mark. So it's very important when you're reading to know your procedures well. I cannot overemphasize it. Know your procedures. Now, my next point is practice. Practice. I'm going to say this in two different forms. Practice with yourself or by yourself, and practicing with other people, group practice. Now I'm going to tell you the importance of this too, because if you practice in group without practicing for yourself, you're going to definitely have a flaw. And if you practice by yourself alone, not that you wouldn't be perfect, but sometimes there is an advantage with also practicing in group or coming together as a group and reading. Now, one major thing I would say, for example, practicing by yourself. Now, I think that should be the very first thing, where after reading you practice. Okay, just ask yourself, when you see, you take past question. Also, when you're practicing now, you're just not practicing thinking that, okay, the teacher might give us this question. Now, that is why we have past questions. That is why I'm very sure in your school you can actually be able to access, if you ask around, you'll be able to actually access past questions, both past questions, professional exam past questions, and also your your normal practical exam past questions. Those two are very important. Your school examination past questions. So you practice. So that is actually what you practice with. You practice with those questions. Now you sit down, close your books, close your books and put yourself or put your mind in that kind of examination mode, and then practice those questions. How, if I see this question, how do I answer it? Can I remember the procedures? This actually helps you to know, okay, these are the ones I can remember easily. These are the ones I need to work on. These are the ones I'm modeling up. I need to work on learning them properly. So it's very important to practice by yourself. Now, the thing about practicing in group is that, especially for professional exam, there's something called Viva, which is a list of 100 questions. Oh my god, I didn't want to talk about mine, but it's actually a list of 100 questions, and you have to answer them through false a. Like, it's very important to also do that. You can't fail all the 100 questions. You have to also read. So you're not only reading for the practical, and there's also the Viva. Like, professional exams are actually divided basically into 3 stages, which is the 100 question, which is like the theoretical aspect in a way, then the practical, then the Viva. So actually you have to actually read. It's not enough just saying, okay, I know the procedures and all. You actually have to read your normal book. So it's important for you to come as a group. Now, you as a person might have been focusing on, gym thing. There are times when, okay, as a person, they've been telling you, okay, you've seen all the questions, and most of the questions are on a particular type of question, and then that's what you've been practicing. And when you come up together as a group, someone could just say, okay, this is this, and you're like, okay, you might not have actually read it, but yeah, during your group discussions. Or there are times in my set, we had a lot of people who actually developed acronym. Like, people were so good at developing acronym for a particular procedures, or ways in which we could remember procedures easier. So by coming in a group, okay, I learned, okay, this is the acronym you use. Okay, I just apply to it, and I remember when I'm in an exam hall and I'm trying to remember, I'm like, okay, that's the acronym this person said, and it's an easier way for me to remember. So practicing in groups helps you. Actually, you people can sit down together, practice together, and you won't only see from your own point, because basically you'll be able to actually gain knowledge from each other. You'll be able to share knowledge, because the truth is, one person cannot know everything 100%. Trust me, and this is me saying it. One person cannot know everything 100%. Yes, you can be very good in everything, but there are still some knowledge you will not know until you actually come and sit down with people, and you people actually rub minds together, basically, or in this situation, rub knowledge together, basically. So there are some things. So it's very important for you to practice by yourself and also practice with people. Have a group of people you practice with. Now, another point I'm going to be talking about is meditation. Now, I know a lot of time you ask me meditation, I'm reading for examination, how does meditation comes in. Now, prior to the exam, 3 or 4 weeks prior to the exam, you will not tell me you're going to use 24 hours of the day to actually read and not do anything. You're just going to sit down and read in your place, in your room, or wherever you're going to be reading till the end of the day. That's not basically what you're going to do. So it's important that even at the points where you are not reading, you are actually meditating on those things. Now, maybe you're just doing something else and then you're meditating on a particular procedure and all. It actually helps you remember faster. Like, if you come across something like that in the exam, or because you've meditated on it even after reading, it makes remembrance easier. I don't know if that you understand that, but it actually makes remembrance easier. Meditating on something, even for example, the Bible also mentioned the importance of meditation. So not only reading something, you can read something and forget, but once you meditate on it constantly, it helps bring you to remembrance faster, basically. So when you're in the exam or something you've meditated on over and over and over again, trust me, it won't be difficult for you to remember those procedures. It will not be difficult for you to write them down. Now, also my number 5 point is not entertaining fear and asking questions. Now, this is important because, see, during professional exam or when you're preparing for a big exam, especially in school setting, you being scared it's not wrong, or there's nothing extraordinary about being scared. Now, letting that fear overtake you or grip you, basically. Let me use a perfect example. I don't know if you're reading for an examination, probably you come with your friends and then you've been reading, and at the point, you know, when you're reading and you feel like, nah, if somebody asks me a question on this subject or this course, I'll probably be able to answer it. Then you see people who are doing revision, group revision, then you go there and people are talking and you're like, are we in the same class? Because it's like I don't know what they're talking about. So at that point in time, it's normal for you to feel scared that, oh my god, it feels like I'm on. There are a lot of times when I will go for group reading or group revision, and after leaving the group revision, I'm like, Alice, I don't think you're ready. You were playing, because everything there will probably seem strange. Now, one thing I learned is never actually entertain that fear. Okay, you see people saying something you don't understand. Okay, if you probably ask questions, because you might not even have enough time at that point in time to even go back and start reading and understand the way you would love to. So at that point in time, you see people talking about things you probably have not read, or you've not talked about. Ask questions in a way, ask smart questions in a way that if you see that question, probably if you see that question in the exam, or you will be able to answer it, at least answer it smartly. No, if someone's talking about something you don't know, say, oh, okay, sorry, where was that? Okay, if they ask you this question, how do you answer it? Don't be scared that, oh, that's not the time to start saying, oh, I've not read these things, let me go and carry my book. No, because you might not actually even have that time. So ask smart questions. So don't entertain fear, basically, till the very minute you people are about to enter exam, or like the moment you are even outside exam. This happened a lot of time for me. You see hear people saying things and like, that's part of our course content. Are you serious? So at that point in time, I cannot go and start opening my book. Oh, let me find somewhere to read. At that point in time, I'll just have to, okay, what is it? What is this thing you're talking about? I had someone mention this thing. I don't know it. What exactly it is? What exactly is it? Thank you very much. I'm also going to be talking about time factors and a lot of things in my next video, so please do well to actually click the notification bell so you'll be notified whenever I post new videos. Yes, thank you very much for watching. I'm actually speeding because like my battery is low and there is actually no light, but thank you very much for watching this video till this point. I really appreciate it. Do not forget to subscribe, like, share, and share with your friends if you think this video actually blessed you, the content actually blessed you. Thank you very much. I remain your girl Alice, and don't worry, you'll pass the professional exam definitely. Thank you very much and stay blessed.